Guys, welcome to Box, the football talk show powered by Sportology TV. My name's Ouney. This is my co-host, Ali Drew. This week, we've got a huge guest for you guys, absolutely massive. But before Ali introduces him, I'm going to give you a quick recap on the show last week. We had TalkSport's Max Rushton talk about everything to do with football. He spoke about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is he in or out? Harry Kane and a lot more, so make sure you guys watch that. We also had Danny Mills join us, talk about his beloved Leeds United, so definitely watch that. But Ali, this week a massive guest.
Yes, we are joined by a great guest this week on Box to Box. It is a former player for quite a few clubs, including Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal and Wolves, among many others. He's also a pundit and you'll hear him as a presenter on TalkSport. He's done a bit of reality TV, a bit of everything. We are delighted to be joined by Jermaine Pennant. Jermaine, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good.
Good. Welcome to the show. How is life treating you? Obviously, this year's been a bit crazy. As we said, you're on TalkSport. How are things?
Yeah, it's going good. Obviously, because of the pandemic, it's a little bit slow with other projects, but they've been halted with the distancing and stuff that's closing. But apart from that, no, it's I'm coping well. You know, I've got it better than other people have, so I can't complain.
Jermaine, want to sort of pick your brain in regards to football, which is why we brought you on the show. I want to talk about one of the teams you played for, and probably the biggest team that you probably played for was Liverpool.
Yes, my boyhood team.
Yeah, so let's talk about them this weekend. They drew to Brighton. There was a lot of controversy in regards to a couple of goals.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the game as a whole, but what did you make of that penalty decision right at the end?
It's very harsh because he didn't even have control of the ball for one. It wasn't a malicious tackle. If that was in the middle of the field, it probably would have been waved on and no VR incident or what so. But I think it's a bit cheap. It was soft. And the referee didn't get it at first, looked at the monitor. And in slow motion, things look a lot worse. So surely if they're going to look at that, they need to look at it in normal speed to have a judgment. But I thought it was a very, very, very soft penalty. And even the referee watching in the studio said no, he won't be given. So it was a bit of a shock to get that penalty against our team.
What did you make of the game as a whole for Liverpool, their performance?
The one at the best, and obviously they've got a few injuries, so they're not fully strength. So a full credit to Brighton. They actually played well, and some people say that a point was deserved. But Liverpool again scored 2 goals, both disallowed, which again VAR is just killing it. The Mane's header was it's fractional margins. It's a joke really. But Brighton did well. Liverpool wasn't at the best. But yeah, it's just one of them things.
Jermaine, I have to ask you: is VAR is it ruining the game? Because decisions like this, where maybe like the end of the toe is offside, or somebody's got their hands by their sides and the ball hits them, is given as a penalty. We've had a lot of controversial decisions this year. Do you feel like it's ruining the game?
It's having an impact on the game, yes, but you can't blame VAR for that. They're just living by the rules. If the rule says you're a centimetre, a millimetre, a yard, a foot, then you're offside, and the VAR just sticking to the rules with these lines that they keep putting on, which is just ridiculous. I think it now has to go to the human eye. If you can't really tell it's offside, then you let it be. And so I think the rules need to change. VAR can stay, because there's sometimes where it becomes crucial and the right decision has been turned and been made. But when you're talking about fractions, toenails, shoulders, then you've got to change that kind of ruling. And with the handball as well, some handball decisions are crazy where the players have got nowhere to go, nothing, just put their hands behind the back. It's impossible to jump or tackle like that. So I feel the rules need to be amended, changed, and then obviously VAR can stay. Then I think the game will be a lot better.
You said then that Liverpool obviously have some injuries. They seem to, they've had a bit of an unfortunate season. A lot of people, I think, last season said if certain key players got injured, then Liverpool would have no chance. But they're actually, that seems to be not the case. They seem to be coping quite well.
Yeah, well, I had this argument on TalkSport with Jamie O'Hara and Craig Mitch saying that my team's done. They said, you're done, you're dead. But no, we haven't had Virgil for, I think, 8 games now, and we've not lost without him. So we are, players that are coming in are stepping up to the plate. I think Fabinho playing centre back's done absolutely amazing. And obviously, James Milner can go right back now. Trent's out, so we've got players who can come in and do a job. And that's my worry was what's going to happen with all these players out. But if we can keep it close until January and then re-strengthen with a big centre back, and I think we'll be in a good place.
Jermaine, what do you make of this sort of inconsistent season that's going on? Not Liverpool last year. I think the first 10 games, they won 10 games, they were on 30 points. This time around, there's a lot of draws. Man City can't seem to sort of pick up a consistency. Man United, whilst they've not been great, they're 5 points away from the top with the game in hand. What do you make of this crazy season?
Yeah, it is like I say, it's crazy, and there's no surprise with all these results and teams dipping in forms and players getting injured. It's down to COVID. The lack of pre-season players getting fit and getting in good shape, condition properly like they usually do in a normal season. Hence why we see more injuries, and there's no coincidence for that. And no fans is having a massive impact on the teams. That's probably why you're seeing a lot of teams losing during at home and away, because that advantage is now being taken away. So the fans do play a massive part, especially at Anfield as well. When you've got that cop singing, it's like a 12th man. So, the sooner the fans come back, I'm sure, results might start going the way they should be. But at the minute, it's a crazy season. I think at home or away, any team can win. It just depends who turns up.
How do you think you would have coped with having no fans at the games?
Do you know what? I think I lost interest. No, I when I was playing, I loved, the fans away and home. I love, if you do something well, them the cheering, calling your name, it gives you a little adrenaline rush and want you to do it again. And, I like to be a performer, so I like to do it when the fans are there. So when the fans aren't there, it'll feel like more of a training game. Obviously, it's an important game, but that little bit of fire and excitement kind of dwindles away. So it definitely has an impact on the professional footballers.
Jermaine, actually, when you were playing, you were a right winger. You were on the wings anyway. But look at the wingers nowadays. They've changed football. Look at Salah. Look at Riyad Mahrez. There's not essentially a winger no more. There seems to be like another striker off the side. Well, what do you make of the sort of difference in football in these last couple of years?
It's just, I think Pep kind of evolved that style of football. Obviously, Liverpool are formed to a 4-3-3, so they're kind of playing the same. But I think it all started from Pep really coming over, and the style of the way he played has kind of changed and evolved the game in the Premier League. The out-and-out winger, it's kind of gone now, getting the ball down the line and put it on Crouch's head or something like that. That's kind of vanished. So they're having an inverted forward, so they're on the wings and then come inside on the stronger foot. So it's great. I think if I was playing in that, my left foot's just for standing on. So, and, but it's great to see, and it's exciting football, more attacking players for sure.
Another game this weekend, last night I want to talk to you about, two of your former teams, Arsenal, Wolves. Arsenal obviously lost. They've had the worst start to the season in history. I actually predicted before the season started that Arsenal were going to do well, but so far not so much. Just talk to me about.
Still got time.
Still got time. Just talk to me about that. Obviously, there was a lot of hope for them. What's sort of going wrong there?
Yeah, there was. And they did start off well, Arsenal, but they're just lacking creativity. And when you've got someone like Mesut Ozil not even in your squad, you've got to be asking questions. You're struggling to score goals, and then you've got a player who's not on your bench, not on your squad, who can do that, who can unlock them little pockets and create goals and assists, especially when you've got players like Aubameyang who need and thrive off that kind of play. So it's definitely politics in that sense why he's not playing, because he seems like a genuine nice man, and I'm sure his attitude around training ground is professional. So it's just a bit crazy. And I'm sure every Arsenal fan will say, look, just get him on the pitch, just give him a try. What's the worst that can happen? Because they're not, it's like you're doing amazing at the moment. So it's sad times for Arsenal and all your Arsenal fans.
I think you've alluded to it there, that the creativity in attack isn't there. You got people like Aubameyang, who's world class. He's been top goal scorer for the last 2 seasons. He's not got a sniff in for the last couple of games now. What can they do? What should Arteta do? You talked about Mesut Ozil there, but what else do they realistically need to do?
Well, they strengthened up midfield because they didn't have no one with Thomas Partey. He's a great addition. The defence looks still, to me, he's a bit suspect. But you just need to play the right players in the right position. Put Aubameyang up front, get some creative players because he can score, he can finish, and that's what they need. They're kind of struggling for goals, and the best form of defence is actually attack. Yeah. So if you've got good creative players, you've got a good attacking force, then that should even itself out for the defence. So they just need to get players who can create because at the minute they're struggling.
Arsenal's next game is Spurs. It's a big...
Yeah, it's a big game. But the good thing about the derbies, anyone can win. Yeah. It doesn't matter how big or good of the team is. It's a derby game, and everything just goes out the window. It's just one game final derby. So it depends who's up for it, who turns up for it, what managers got their players rallied up the most, and will win. But it's looking more favour to Tottenham because Arsenal are struggling at the minute. But this could be a defining point in the league for them. If they do get a result here, saying how well Tottenham are doing, it could lift and boost the morale in the camp at Arsenal.
We live in this era, Jermaine, where if a manager loses a couple of games or doesn't get a good set of results for a couple of games, fans want him out. Mikel Arteta, what do you make of him? Do you feel like he's the right man? Only a couple of games ago when Arsenal beat Man United, everyone was banging the drum that this guy's the next Messiah for Arsenal, the next Arsene Wenger, and then all of a sudden they've collected 1 point in the league after that. Tell me. What
being a manager is dangerous in this era, and football fans are very fickle. So, they're going to be patient with him. The board have obviously got a plan. He's got a plan, a long-term plan. It's not going to work overnight. But at the same time, it's Arsenal Football Club. They want to see results. They want to see wins. They want to be climbing up the table. They don't want to be, the bottom half, 13th, 14th, or wherever they are. But he's new, and I'm sure he's got his own ideas. And, are they going to give him another season? We don't know. But if results keep going the way they are, I will be very shocked if he does last the whole season. So it's a waiting game, really.
I couldn't understand why anyone would want to be a manager these days. Like, did you see all the stuff in Celtic? They were all saying they want the manager out, and it's just, I don't know why you'd ever want to be a football manager at the moment.
No, that's why I've not done my badges yet. No interest. To radio and punditry.
Talking about managers, and we spoke about Spurs there. We know about Mourinho and how great a manager he's been. Obviously, his time at Man United probably wasn't the best in regards to his career. But he's sort of, on top of the league. They're scoring goals.
Whoa, joint top of the league.
I'll give you that. But Mourinho has received a lot of criticism for not being an attacking manager, being a lot defensive. But this season, they've showed that, with the right players, he can make his teams attack. Just talk to me about Mourinho and this sort of this new Mourinho that we've got playing this sort of crazy football.
Yeah, it's weird with Mourinho because sometimes you watch Spurs and they're attacking and they're joy to watch. And then you'll watch against Man City and they park the bus. And I was like, this is horrible. But it got the result. It reminded me of Tony Pulis at Stoke. Just playing the big teams. You just sit back and just soak it all up and try and get a 1-0 and take it away. But like I said, it's working. It's working. So against Man City, they had 3 shots on target and scored 2 goals. And it was a classic, sit back, defend well, be organised, and hopefully we'll get a chance. And they did while Man City was pushing forward. So he's got it trained into him so they can attack and he also can be boring. Typical old school Mourinho.
Another former team of yours, Leeds, obviously their first season back in the Premier League. And they won at the weekend against Everton. Talk to me about them so far this season, because they're probably doing a lot better than a lot of people expected.
Yeah, I think it's great what they're doing. They've came in and they've attacked. They've just played how they was playing the Championship. They've not sat back and just said, look, we need to it's the Premier League, let's just be cautious. They're just going out gung-ho. And the first game against Liverpool, I was nervous. You don't understand. I had to be sweating. But it's great to see, and that's how teams should be. Norwich tried, but failed. They tried to be all attacking, but got punished and got set back down. But Leeds are doing a good job, and they're getting big results, and fair play to them.
Who do you see winning the league this year, Jermaine?
I can't go out my team. It's got to be Liverpool. So I'm staying faithful. So it's Liverpool, but it's going to be a lot closer. There's obviously Man City. You know, you can never write them out. Tottenham look good, and even Chelsea are now are starting to flirt with the idea. So it's going to be, I say Liverpool, but it's going to be close. It's not going to be a 20-point margin this season for sure. It's going to be a nail biter, I reckon. So the four teams are in it: Chelsea, Spurs, Man City, and Liverpool. But hopefully, my team comes through.
Okay, going off football and going to probably the biggest news that broke out this week was the death of Diego Maradona, probably the best player to touch the football on a football pitch.
Yeah.
Jermaine, when you were growing up, was he one of the players that you'd watch? Was he one of them players at that time that was the standout player?
Yeah, obviously I watched him. My dad was a diehard Brazil fan, so I had loads of Brazil films and videos and watching Pele, and obviously then there was talk of Maradona and the rivalry between them both. So I watched him. He was a magician. I can remember when I was young as well, playing in the school. Sometimes I'd go past probably the whole team and I'd think I'd be Maradona. And I always wanted the number 10 shirt as well. That's where the number 10 shirt obviously originated from. Everyone who wore 10 probably thought they were Maradona or wanted to be based on Maradona. A fantastic player. You know, obviously had his struggles in life, but he was a great role model, a great player again, and you know, a very big, massive loss in the world of football and for Argentina.
You could really see the sort of impact. Obviously, the pouring of everyone saying the greatest, how amazing player he was. He's one of the few who's had the big impact on the game of football.
Yeah, his death was, like I said, it went global. Every part of the world was talking about it and mourning and showing their respects. And it just showed how big of a legend he actually was, that the whole world came together. And like I said, you know, New Zealand playing rugby, and they played against Argentina, and they even brought out a Maradona shirt, and that's rugby. That's a different total sport. You know, you got basketball people, you know, showing their, respects to the family and Diego in Argentina. So he touched everybody in every aspect of sports as well, not just football. So you can just, that alone says how much of a legend and his ability shone, and people, took to it.
Another sort of breaking news that came out, I think yesterday, was the death of Papa Bouba Diop, somebody that you might have played sort of against.
Yeah. Yeah, about to say that. Yeah, it was like the wardrobe. Just a strong, quick, massive central midfielder that you just, every time you got the ball, his time close, he's like, oh, get this away from me. He's going to take the ball, take me out, take the lot. But it was a good player, and a gentle giant, you know, people would say. And again, it's, you know, you can't take, you know, you got to cherish every moment. And it's sad again that another a footballer, a professional athlete has passed away so young as well.
Definitely. Well, before you leave, we always ask our former players this. So we just want to know who you think the greatest player that you ever played alongside was.
This is a tough one because I've got some good ones. I'm gonna have. Can I name two?
You can.
Give me Thierry Henry.
Okay.
And Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard's very popular. A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people say him.
Yes, Stevie G and Thierry.
All right, let me ask you another question then. Which player have you played against and thought, this guy's a phenomenal player?
Well, that's quite easy. Lionel Messi. Yeah, we got beat 6-1 as well. And he scored a hat-trick just to top it off. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, so Lionel Messi. And obviously I played against Ronaldo, but I think, you know, Messi with that hat-trick stood out for me.
Jermaine, at all the clubs that you were at, where were you the happiest? There was quite a few clubs you played for, but which one?
I was happy at quite most of them in the beginning, until I fell out with the manager. But no, I would say Liverpool, because my boyhood team. I supported them, you know, as soon as I could, you know, get into football. That was my team, and heroes like Barnes, Owen, and Fowler. And then when I went to Liverpool, he was there, Robbie Fowler. Like I told him when I was younger, I had you on my back of my shirt. You know, I felt like a big kid. So it was definitely Liverpool. And the time that I got signed, when my agent called me and said that, you know, get ready, you're going to Liverpool, you need a medical. You know, my heart was just racing the whole way down, and it it was just a joy. So I think Liverpool was my best time, and obviously getting to the Champions League final with them. So yeah, that's a memory I'll always cherish.
You know what? When I was obviously watching football and you were sort of in the peak of your game, you were actually known to have sort of a bad boy image.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I don't understand it.
Did you sort of cherish that? Did you think, I'll play on it?
No, I didn't cherish it. I just made, I was young, probably a bit naive, made a few mistakes, and it's got obviously publicised in the public eye. And then ever since, I just got this bad boy image, but I never want to play up to it, or thought, let me, use it. But it just stuck in. I kind of got tarnished from that brush. So it is what it is.
Would you be able to play in this era though, with social media about everyone videoing, putting it everywhere?
I'd say no for that. Obviously, you have to. Now, the spotlight, the social media, you have to conduct yourself a lot differently. I may get caught a lot more, but I'll do my best to stay professional, because you got no choice. So yeah, I'm glad I kind of fizzled out towards the end of that era. Thank God.
Jermaine, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great having you on the show.
No worries, absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Great to be joined there by Jermaine Pennant, talking about some of his former teams. There was a lot that he used to play for. But guys, make sure you stay tuned. We have lots more guests coming up, loads more shows. So make sure you support the channel, subscribe, leave some comments, share, do as much as you can, and we will see you again soon.